the embodiment of agility and grace, the sleek, sporty Tesla Motors Model S. Its advanced electric powertrain delivers exhilarating performance, while its lightweight aluminum body and variable ratio, speed-sensitive rack, I'm in the middle of something.
An infomercial.
Electronic power steering makes you feel as if you're one with the road. They told me to read that dramatically, and I think I did a good job.
It sounded like a commercial.
I just sold one for myself. I would love one of these vehicles. But it's not any of that if you live in Arizona or Texas or New Jersey. Lawmakers in those states have essentially banned the sale of Tesla automobiles by barring auto manufacturers from selling their cars directly to consumers. Instead, the new rules would force companies to grant franchises to independent dealerships, which conflicts with Tesla's sales model. This week, New Jersey became the third state to pass the anti-Tesla regulations, actually bypassing the legislative process and imposing the rules through the regulatory power of the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. In response, Tesla Motors released a statement saying that the Christie administration and the NJMVC are thwarting the legislator and going beyond their authority to implement the state's laws at the behest of a special interest group looking to protect its monopoly at the expense of New Jersey consumers. This is an affront to the very concept of a free market. The special interest group that's in question is the New Jersey Coalition of Automotive Retailers, or CARPAC, a political action committee that represents New Jersey's auto dealerships. The group wields a considerable amount of power in the state of New Jersey, thanks in no small part to its deep pockets. Between 2003 and 2009, CARPAC contributed close to $700,000 to the political campaigns of both Democrats and Republicans. This is not a new battle for Tesla Motors. At the company's annual shareholder meeting last year, founder and CEO Elon Musk spoke out about efforts to restrict direct sales.
Challenge we face, of course, is that the auto dealers are very strong, have very influential at the state level among the legislatures. And I should point out very often this is not it's not like some small mom-and-pop operation. It's the giant auto dealers that are the big national auto dealers that are the biggest challenge here.
I messed up saying restrict, but he was a much boring speaker than I am. Let's just pre-establish that right now. So remember, this is the third state that's decided to prohibit Tesla from selling their cars directly to consumers. But what happened in New Jersey was a surprise. Tesla was working with the legislator. They thought this was going their way. And unlike those other two states, New Jersey decided to bypass the legislative process, as we told you earlier, and they handed down this decision a lot faster than Tesla was expecting. So it's probably made them worried about Ohio, which is a state where they currently have 2 dealerships. But the future of the company in Ohio is unclear. There's a bill pending in the state Senate that could prohibit them from acquiring future dealerships license, though they would keep the 2 they already have in the state. So why is this happening? You might not want to buy a Tesla, but is this bad for innovation? What was y'all's kind of initial reaction when you heard? There you go.
First of all, when you said y'all, it was awesome. I love when you say y'all. No, that's awesome. Go ahead.
It's my roots. But what was sort of your initial reaction to seeing this, and particularly the statement that Tesla put out? I mean, that was hitting Christie right on conservatism.
I can't believe that Christie has done this. I can't believe that many states have done this. I can't believe Texas has done this. Ohio is thinking about doing it. I mean, I guess I can believe it. I know why. I know the power of the auto dealerships lobby. I understand that you're protecting an industry that already exists at the risk of being innovated out of. I have this statement from Christie's top spokesman. His name is Kevin Roberts. I just can't believe something like this would be uttered by any administration, much less a Republican administration. He says this administration does not find it appropriately to unilaterally change the way cars are sold in New Jersey without legislation. And Tesla's been aware of that. What are you talking about? You changed the way everything is sold.
That's right.
But we also changed the way everything is sold without the power of the government's, should I use Jesse's word, imprimatur. I mean, that's the nature of free markets and innovation. We don't go to the government first before we decide to change an industry.
This is protectionism, essentially, at the state level. That's all this is. And this is actually, what's fascinating is that the federal government uses the Interstate Commerce Clause to do all kinds of things they absolutely should not be doing, as we know. They should roll it all the way back to the Supreme Court to Wickard v. Filburn. Never going to happen until Buck is emperor of the world. However, at the state level, they're supposed to make it easy for people to, for example, buy cars. That's what the regulation of commerce was supposed to be, to make it simpler for things to be sold, to prevent tariffs, to prevent trade wars between the states. We don't even think of it that way anymore.
Well, this goes back to a long-standing history in New Jersey. I mean, dealership licensing has started in 1940. And you have to understand that, I'm not justifying this, it's wrong. It's special interests gone awry here, clearly. But it's a long-standing special interest history, protectionist policy, and it's extremely difficult to upend or change state laws like this when you're an outsider coming in. Now, I would disagree with you about Elon Musk. He might be boring when he's a billionaire, and he started PayPal. He started PayPal, made billions, and he also started SpaceX, makes billions. They send the rockets up to the space station, and now he's doing Tesla. He is an innovator. He's a job creator, and I think that it's really unfortunate that states like New Jersey, I don't know what the hell's going on in Texas and a couple of these other states, I think Georgia and Arizona, why they would prevent
but you do know
something like this.
Things.
Yes, especially
you do know why Texas.
Yes,
but I like how you explained it, though, because I think it's easy to look at how much money those groups have donated and say, is this just quid pro quo? But I think when I think of it, I think is the way you explain it more. I think it's more almost nepotism of just we have this long-standing relationship with these people, so we're going to go with the special interest group to help them out because we like
all politics is local, and this is an example of that.
It's also short-sightedness, though, and they are holding back on innovation. The people this really hurts are the people in New Jersey who might actually want to buy a Tesla.
All 5 of them.
Well,
yes.
I'm
sorry. Tesla's great.
That's actually a point, though. New Jersey's a wealthy state, and that's why it's
Pardon me for interrupting.
Go ahead.
Please continue.
So I talked to Congressman Massey, who is the only member of Congress I could think of who actually owns a Tesla. I called him just before the show, and he said flatly, this holds back innovation, and it's going to hurt the people of New Jersey. And you know, the other thing is, you know, sorry, I have my notes.
You have a congressman that drives a Tesla, which, by the way, my mind is already blown. I did not know that anybody in
charges
Congress...
it at the charging station that Nancy Pelosi had put in the garage.
And he's a Republican, right? Yeah. I just wanted to...
No, I think
he's a self-correcting problem. That was what I was trying to... I have chicken scratch here. It's my own fault. But, yeah, no, he said the bottom line is the people who also can speak with their money, they might not have deep pockets, but they have pockets, and they can choose where they spend their money. If they want to go buy a Tesla, do it. And then they can also vote out those legislators who are making these decisions.
There's also another issue at play here, and that's the fact that you even have to be licensed to be a car dealer. We live in a society now where you have to be licensed to be in any potential industry.
Except this one, by the way, the one that we're in.
Yet.
Pundits.
Yet.
Yeah. Good point.
No, seriously, if you think about it, I mean, hairstylists, barbers, dentists, lawyers, all licensed by government entities to suggest you are capable of practicing this profession. And car dealers? All of these, by the way, are over licensed. I don't know why a hairstylist would need to be licensed versus someone who just wants to start in that business. And why with car dealers as well? Why is one guy okay to sell cars but another?
There is maybe the safety issue, right? And so we have to take that into consideration.
Safety of what?
I think selling a car is a pretty safe prospect.
And you know what? Tesla decided to do the direct consumer, the direct buy model because the cars are technologically advanced, and he wants to make sure that people, they're aware of what they're buying and they can properly train them. So they wanted to cut out the middleman so they could.
Well, he actually has a reason where Elon Musk talked about this, exactly why direct sales is what they need for their business model.
The order dealers keep saying, oh, we should grant them a franchise, but then I ask, okay, can you give me some examples of companies that have granted a franchise, like startup companies, where that's turned out to be successful? It's like, didn't work for Fisker, didn't work for Coda. Well, let's see. I mean, in the last 90 years, when did it work?
I mean, he has a good point. He really does. And everything that everyone in these states that are passing these laws seem to come up with. The guy who's representing the Automobile Dealers Association in Ohio, he said that he thinks this is a fair bill because it reinforces the standards my dealers have followed as well as manufacturers have followed. Basically, their reasoning is this is how it's always been, so we got to keep doing it. And that's absurd.
Yeah. They're afraid of the new guy.
One of the silliest arguments I've heard defending this decision is, well, people won't know where to take their Tesla to get it fixed if there aren't dealerships, if there aren't places. And again, Congressman Massey said, one of the greatest things is I call them, they come to my house. So for those 5 people in New Jersey who might want to buy this, that's one more piece of information they know now. Hey, you don't have to worry about going to a dealership.
Somehow we left this out. If you can regulate it, you can tax it. It's not just about the donations that go to politicians. It's about the money that gets funneled into government because you need to get licensed. Trying to drive a taxi in New York City needs a lot of money.
Yeah. And New Jersey is one of the only states where you still have to, you can't pump your own gas. So Tesla is an electric car. Maybe they don't want those cars.
Maybe.
Because there's not, people don't have to pump the gas for it.
Whole host of issues. Well, stay tuned because we have Misfits stories coming up next.